Today, I want to talk about a fascinating concept that plays a significant role in our financial decisions: the greater fool theory. This theory, often seen during speculative bubbles, suggests that people can profit from overvalued assets, believing that there will always be a greater fool to buy them at a higher price. Let's dive into this intriguing idea and see how it's closely linked to our cognitive biases. To begin, let's explore some historical context. Remember the Tulip Mania in the 17th century, or the dot-com bubble of the late 1990s? These are classic examples of speculative bubbles driven by the greater fool theory. More recently, we've seen similar trends in cryptocurrencies, NFTs, and certain stocks. These scenarios often feature a frenzied climb in asset prices fueled by media hype and social enthusiasm, followed by an inevitable crash. But what makes people participate in these bubbles? That's where cognitive biases come into play. Cognitive biases are like mental shortcuts or errors in thinking that affect our decisions and judgments. For instance, the overconfidence bias convinces us that we can outsmart the market. Confirmation bias leads us to seek out information that supports our beliefs while ignoring contradictory evidence. The bandwagon effect is about following the crowd, and FOMO, or fear of missing out, is the anxiety of not being part of a potentially lucrative opportunity. These biases cloud our judgment, often leading us into the trap of the greater fool theory. Trends, especially in financial markets, are not just about numbers and charts. They're about human behavior. Social media plays a significant role in amplifying these trends. Influencers and market leaders can sway public opinion, leading to herd mentality. This herd mentality can cause individuals to make decisions based on what others are doing rather than rational analysis. Understanding this psychology is crucial to navigating these trends wisely. So, how do we avoid falling for the greater fool theory? It starts with education and research. Don't just follow the crowd. Understand what you're investing in. Emphasize long-term strategies over short-term speculation. Develop financial literacy to make informed decisions. Remember, in a market driven by speculation, the last one holding the asset, hoping for a greater fool, often ends up being the greatest fool. Before we wrap up, there's another crucial aspect we need to discuss: late adopters, or what I like to call the late fool syndrome. This phenomenon is particularly evident in the recent cryptocurrency and NFT trends. Late adopters are those who jump into a trend after it has already become mainstream. Sometimes even later than that, when it's on a downward death spiral. They often witness the initial wave of success and, driven by a mix of fear of losing out and overconfidence, decide to invest. However, by this time, the asset's value is typically inflated far beyond its intrinsic worth. Take cryptocurrencies and NFTs, for instance. Early adopters reaped significant gains as these digital assets soared in value. This success story attracted late adopters, many of whom invested at peak prices. Unfortunately, these late investors are often the most impacted by subsequent market corrections or crashes. The late fool syndrome is fueled by similar cognitive biases that affect early investors, but with an added urgency. Late adopters tend to overestimate their ability to catch up and underestimate the risks. They often ignore warning signs and historical precedents, hoping to quickly replicate the success of early adopters. The consequences for late adopters can be severe. They often buy at high prices and are left holding devalued assets when the bubble bursts. The loss is not just financial, it can also be emotional, leading to disillusionment and a lack of trust in future investments. The crypto and NFT markets taught us valuable lessons. First, timing is crucial in speculative investments. Second, understanding the underlying value and long-term viability of an asset is essential. And finally, being aware of where we stand in the investment cycle can prevent us from becoming the late fool. If you consider a late entry into a trend, pause and reassess. Do your research, understand the risks, and avoid making decisions based on hype or peer pressure. Remember, not every ship that sails late catches the wind. With this added perspective on late adopters and the late fool syndrome, I hope you can approach trending markets with a more informed and cautious mindset.